Hey everyone, today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be looking at the new RGB backplate from JSAUX. We're not going to be looking at thermals in this video. I'm going to save that for a separate video, and we'll be comparing it against the old backplate and some other cooling options that I have in the works as well. But for this one, we'll just kind of focus on how to add some more RGB into your gaming setup. Now, before we get into the video proper, I just want to take a moment to just pass my condolences to my wife's SD card. I unfortunately forgot that she had an SD card, and she didn't have any games installed on it anyway. It was just a 256GB one. But anyway, so I was kind of coaching her on how to take apart the backplate, but I completely forgot about the SD card, and it wasn't until long after that I even remembered, and then I realized it was kind of jammed in there, so here's the end result. I'm something of a big-time YouTuber now as well. As you can see, I have two Steam Decks. So one is my personal one, obviously, that has the broken screen. If you haven't seen that, I've made videos on that before, doing the extreme rate case swap. So now I'm waiting for the DeckHD screen to be released hopefully next week. That's what they're saying, and then I'll be able to purchase a new screen and kind of get that going. So yeah, my wife, I also purchased a secondhand Steam Deck just off eBay. I sent like kind of a lowball offer before I went to bed, not expecting anything. And then I woke up next day saying, hey, congrats, he accepted your offer, so that was perfect. So it came with the 256GB SD card, RIP, and the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck was flawless condition. They said that they only used it like once or twice, so, and yeah, there's no issues with it. So anyway, so the when I was talking with JSAUX about doing like kind of a collaboration thing and getting some products and stuff, I also mentioned like, hey, my wife got a new Steam Deck. If you wanted to kind of set over backplate, I didn't even say the RGB one, I just said a backplate, and then I can get her to do the swap just to show how easy it is. So what we ended up doing for this video is I got her to swap her backplate, and she had the 64GB Steam Deck, so I got her to switch out to a 512GB SSD. So I detailed in this video just how easy it is for somebody with absolutely no experience whatsoever to be able to do something like this. Again, she has never opened up an electronic or a Steam Deck or anything before. And yeah, so as you see the footage playing in the background here, she's took off the screws. Like all I told her was like, yeah, like there's the screws on the back, and good on her for knowing that like, hey, yeah, you should probably put the screws back in the same spot. She didn't know that the screws were different sizes until I told her, and then she took them all out completely and then just separated them based on size. And then I gave her the pry tool and the little guitar pick thing to pry it open. She was able to get that open, no problem. I told her she had to take the tape off to get the heat shield off, or the heat spreader. And yeah, so after that, I took the battery out for her, because I know the first time you have to take the battery out, like it's a little bit tricky because that pull tab is like jammed right in down there. So it's not the easiest of things to get at times, but yeah, beyond that, she took out the SSD herself. She took the heat shield, or the RF shield that's taped around the SSD off of the 64GB, and she put in the 512GB. That's her new Steam Deck size. And then yeah, after unboxing the JSAUX backplate, we realized that, hey, yeah, we probably should have been using their tools, and then she just wanted to put on the finger condoms, because why not? They're fun to put on. So yeah, but she did actually say that she really appreciated the JSAUX screwdriver over the LTT screwdriver that I have. It was just a little bit easier to work with, and when she switched to it here, because it's got the free spinning head, like, yeah, it was just perfect for doing, it's a perfect tool. Like, I'm keeping these tools that came with the JSAUX kit because they are high quality tools. The guitar pick, the pry tool, and then obviously the screwdriver as well is a very nice screwdriver. And yeah, if you want to add a little bit of more RGB to your setup, if you like to play docked with your Steam Deck or even with your game consoles, Lytmi sent over their Lytmi Stick TV HDMI 2.0 edition. So for this, all it is just a little kind of breakout box that you plug into your HDMI port, and then you plug in one end of it into the RGB LEDs, and then one end into a power source, and then you just put in the HDMI from your source. So whether it's your computer, your Nintendo Switch, your PlayStation 4, 5, whatever. Just note that it'll only do 4K 60. It doesn't do 4K 120. It's not an HDMI 2.1 device. They do have other devices that support HDMI 2.1, but this is not one of them. Although that's reflected in the price. It's only $79. They also have a 15% off coupon right now, Stick, if you check out with the coupon code Stick. So that'll bring it down a decent amount, and their 56 to 75 inch is $99. So the $79 is for the 27 to 55 inch, which I have shown here. So if you're not familiar with kind of bias lighting or behind TV lighting, what it can do is actually offer a better perceived contrast, and I'll show up some examples here. It's really something you need to see in person to kind of appreciate. So if you're not familiar with the bias lighting, the idea is that if there's kind of lights, generally it's going to be a controlled kind of white light, more on the cooler side, I believe it's supposed to be. I did have one kind of set up perfectly before with dumb lights, but the dumb lights didn't react to the stuff that's on the TV, so I think that's a lot cooler than having bias lighting. But anyway, you still will get better perceived contrast even with this. So my wife and I were watching a movie. We were watching the new Evil Dead movie, which wasn't very good in my opinion, but it's a very dark movie. But having that light behind the TV did help kind of bring out the contrast a bit. Again, I'll show the example that I can use here to help kind of perceive that. But yeah, so as long as you're using it with your Steam Deck or your Ally, again, it's only 4K 120, but there's no perceived lag that I noticed or anything like that, and yeah, it's a pretty quick and simple setup. I kind of got excited and forgot to film an unboxing and a setup for it, but it's just super simple. You just stick the lights around the edge of your TV, you can cut off the excess, and then you just plug it in and you're good to go. It's dead simple, honestly. Took me all of about 4 minutes, if that. But yeah, so I'll just show some footage here with the RGB going, and it's honestly, I do appreciate it. When you're playing games and when you're watching movies, it really does kind of enhance the experience. It doesn't make the screen bigger, but it just makes it seem a little bit more kind of wide. It's hard to explain. You can kind of see it in the footage with some of the faster moving content where the lights are blurring and kind of moving around quickly, but really, again, to kind of appreciate it, I would suggest kind of setting one up for yourself. It is on the cheaper side, honestly. I think the dumb light kit that I got from Govee that you just stick on your back on the TV and then control it through an app or something, this one, at least you just plug it in, console turns on, it turns on itself with the TV, and you're good to go. $79, honestly, I think it's a fairly good price for what they're offering here. When you get up to their higher tiered one, that's when it gets more expensive, but that's not what we're showing today. So what does this all mean of me being a big-time YouTuber now? Well, now I have two Steam Decks to play with. So I have Fraken-Deck, which I'm calling my Steam Deck, and then I have my wife's Steam Deck, which is going to be the light mod, but easy to swap back to stock Steam Deck. So I know the proper way to do it would be to be using the same exact Steam Deck and then swapping out the mods on that, the mono block and then the deck cooler that I'm going to be getting hopefully in a few days or within a week or so. And then when I'm testing the JSAUX backplate, the new one and the old one, it all should be done on the same Steam Deck. But at this point, I've already repasted my Steam Deck and I've got PTM on it. I've got copper shim mods on it for the mono block. So at this point, it's just not really feasible to kind of keep switching back and forth for that. So I will use my wife's Steam Deck going forward as kind of the baseline Steam Deck. And then we'll use that as direct comparisons, at least for the JSAUX backplates. But then when it starts getting into the mono block and overclocking and stuff, that's when I'll rely on my personal Steam Deck or Fraken-Deck. And then that will have the DeckHD Screen. It's going to have the Extreme Rate case mod. It's going to have button mods. It's going to have a SD card mod. It's going to have a cooler on it. it. And I'll show all this like in a follow-up kind of video. This was just kind of like the announcement of, hey, I've got 2 Steam Deck now, and I can kind of get back into making more Steam Deck content. So I know it's been a little bit light on Steam Deck content over the past few weeks or like month now that I've had this like broken. So hopefully now I can start integrating it all back into the like my regular kind of videos, and I'll start making Steam Deck comparison videos, Steam Deck only videos. Like I'll be doing more guides and mods. There's just more and more things that I do want to do, but now having 2 Steam Decks, I can just do the direct comparisons like I said. So it's just works out perfect now that I'm a big time YouTuber. But yeah, let me know what you want to see in the future. Drop your ideas. I'm going to do more emulation. I'm going to do Tears of the Kingdom again. I'm going to do a big revisit of Tears of the Kingdom with the ROG Ally, with the XG Mobile, on the Steam Deck, overclocked, stock. It's going to be a huge kind of big revisit of Tears of the Kingdom. So it's going to be heavily focused on just getting the best performance out of it and what the state of the game is nowadays, because it has been a while since we last checked it out. But as always, I hope everyone has a great day. I want to thank my channel members, Roy Wayne or Roy Watney, Amoa, Darkstar, Rico1217, and Joey VR. As always, you guys are amazing. I appreciate all of you for taking what you, a part of what you have and giving it to me. It just blows my mind that people choose to do that, especially choose to do it towards me. Like I can see like, you know, like a Mr. Beast or something like that, but you know, it really is humbling. So thank you. And for people who choose to watch the episode or whatever you want to call it, the YouTube video, I appreciate you as well. It really does mean a lot. So thank you. As always, have a great day.